Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us today. We are going to switch things up a little bit. The whiteboard videos we've made in the past, different questions have come in. Who makes your whiteboard videos? How long do they take? And so forth. So I'm just going to step through the process of what goes into making a whiteboard video. We do these ourselves, and it is a little bit of a time-consuming process, but it's also a fun one. I'll just let you know first off, the setup, if you want to try this at home, you don't need everything that I have here. You can jimmy rig a lot of this stuff. I used to do that. I kind of graduated up to where I am now. But once you know the principles of the setup, you can wing this at home and have a lot of fun. What I have right here is a handy cam. This can be done with a cell phone easily. You want your surface to be well lit, a very well lit area. You could probably do that with a ring light on Amazon. I know they have those tripods with the ring lights that go around the camera. You could do that if you have a cell phone. Since I'm not using a cell phone, I'm using a handy cam. I have two large light sources. This is just one for now so that I can see the camera. You can see me. Usually I have two here to get this an even lighting because you want it as even as possible. The challenge with the camera though is to have it angled straight down but where you can't see anything around, for instance, the tripod legs. It's kind of a challenge to get this where you don't actually see what's propping it up. So what I have is a stand with an arm that's connected to the tripod holding my camera, and also I have two stands with a bar cross for support. The reason for my support is that when you make these videos, you'll notice these videos are time lapsed, right? They're sped up. If you have a slight jiggle in your camera, once that starts, it'll look like a jitter in your final project. So it's kind of irritating to the eyes. You don't want any movement whatsoever if possible. So this crossbar just kind of helps me eliminate any movement. Again, you can jimmy rig this stuff. You don't have to have these specific stands. This is just what I use. As far as paper goes, if you're trying this at home, you can use copy paper, a drawing pad, something. I go through a lot of paper when we make our whiteboards, so I like a whole roll of it. You can get this on Amazon. It's pretty easy to get. But the challenge for me when using this is, again, movement. It's very easy for one continuous piece of paper to shift a little bit, and when I speed that up later, it just looks like little jitters in the camera, which are kind of annoying to watch. So what I do to eliminate that is I'll roll my paper out here, and then I just have a simple yardstick that I use to kind of hold the whole paper, the upper paper, down in an even way, and then I put something just like a paperweight on top of it to keep it still. And then for the bottom, my hand is usually in the lower corner. That's just how I draw. And so I get something like my cell phone for the other corner. You can use whatever you want. This is flat. It keeps the paper still for me. So if you're using a roll of paper, just weight it down around the edges. So I'm going to turn my camera on now and kind of show you the top view of what we're looking at. So we have a nice, fairly flat, even surface here. It's lit. It's a little darker on this side than it is on this side, but again, that's because my light source is not on this side. So this is my setup. I love to draw. I've always loved to draw as a little kid. Grew up doing it. It was just a fun pastime for me. But I usually have my head right above my work as I'm drawing it so I can see every detail. When you're doing a whiteboard video, your face has to be away so that the camera can see what your eye normally would. So it's kind of a challenge. I have to extend my hand out from my face to draw the picture so that the camera can see. So that's a little bit annoying to me. I like to be closer so that I can see more detail, but anyway, it is what it is, and it works fine in the end. Everything I've been describing is actually stage 2 of this process. By the time we get to this part, all I'm doing is just drawing the videos that we storyboarded previously. An example, here I have in my Bible, it's turned to the book of Exodus. And so let's say we were doing the story of Moses. In Exodus chapter 2, it starts off this way. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. and his sister stood afar off, to wit, what would be done to him. Just that one part, I would think, maybe we'll have Moses' mother putting him in a basket in this little ark that's described into the water, into the river. So I would draw a little picture of that. And then I would go on to draw that picture. It's very deceiving when you see these pictures come together, how much time they actually take, because these are sped up later and there's just a huge, there's just a time lapse. You don't realize how long these pictures actually take. And I've had whiteboards take almost a couple hours from start to finish drawing these. And you speed it all up and it's all done in a matter of minutes. And so it's kind of amazing that way. But as I draw this picture, it's going to take a lot more time than it will in the end product, obviously. I'll go ahead and speed it up for now so you don't have to sit with me through this whole process. Then you got to get the gist of the time that goes into each one of these. Okay, so that picture took about 5 minutes and 40 seconds to draw. I mean, you're all familiar with time lapses, I'm sure, and how that works. But with this taking over 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes all by itself, you can see how the time kind of multiplies for whole stories here. So it generally takes a couple hours to do this part, just a straightforward drawing. But then from here, if we're going to add color to the whiteboard, which we just started trying this year, Michaela takes every one of these drawings and gets the color crayons out and goes over the whole thing. Probably takes around a similar amount of time to color in the picture. And then from there, we have a little fun on the computer. I like to take the pictures that Michael has colored in, put them on the computer, and when we add that splat effect that looks like paint, kind of hit it and then just running down. The crayon doesn't look very much like paint, and so we have to add a couple filters to make it do that. But then the animation itself is all done by hand. That's something that we all do ourselves. It's not AI, it's not a preset. That's all manual that we do in there. So that's a time-consuming process as well, but it is a fun process. We enjoy it. If you want to try this at home, feel free. The main things you want to keep in mind is having the camera where you don't see the tripod below it, be over a flat surface, and have your surface well lit, and your subject matter or your page where it can be very still. So if you're using a smaller page like printer paper, I might recommend taping it down so that it doesn't jostle around, so that when you speed it up, it's a nice still surface that's going quickly. And also have some protection under your paper. This is Sharpie and it bleeds through everything. So if you don't want marks on your countertop or wherever you draw, have something protecting underneath the surface of your paper. So this is kind of our process in a nutshell. Kind of fun. If you have any questions, or if there's a Bible story that you'd like to see in the future, can't promise it'll be the near future. Life has been really crazy, but we do want to do more of these. So if you have a favorite Bible story you'd like to see in whiteboard form, drop it in the comments below. Thanks again for joining us, and hope to see you next time.